Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the Akimbo Diamattis because they're just absolutely broken in the Warzone right now. If you hit one burst with them, so all 6 bullets at the same time, which obviously doesn't happen that much, you just one-shot people. So 3 bullets here, 3 bullets out of the other one, a person will die. And if you have stopping power rounds, it's even worse. And as you can see in the gameplay, there's also range ability to it. So they're absolutely good close quarter combat, but they're also good on range, obviously. And what we're going to be trying to do right now is we're going to try to give you the best hipfire build possible. We're going to talk about which attachment will make this gun the best. Barrel, front, everything. What do you have to put on to make the Diamattis the beasts they are here? Let's go down on an explain series and hopefully you'll have the best build possible in the Warzone afterwards right now for you to enjoy. Now let's do some testing with the Diamatti to see which would be the best attachments. We have dual wield on the 5 milliwatt laser. That's kind of like the standard what you would like to have. We're standing what away? 3.6 meter here right now. Let's do 5 meters. 5 meters is kind of like the center distance you're going to be standing partially to targets. And you can see the hipfire is pretty damn good. I really like it. I really enjoy what we can see here. Now, which barrel though would be best for the Diamattis? Because when we're looking at the barrels, we have the plus damage, effective damage range, bullet velocity barrel. But technically the Diamatti already 2 bursts, so 1 burst out of each gun can kill a fully armored opponent. If every single bullet hits, every single bullet, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The opponent dies, no matter what. So damage plus might not be needed, but also we have just some vert and horizontal recoil control, so we'll check how much that plays a role. Technically, this barrel should make hipfire worse. Now we have the chrome light with even more bullet velocity, so that would be good to shoot at people, but we get less aim walk movement speed, but then again, we're not aiming. So we also have the reinforced heavy barrel, which gives us effective damage range and bullet velocity. That's kind of what we would be looking for, because you don't just want to have bullet velocity, you kind of want to have velocity and effective damage range, because you want to kill people also in up to 10 meters, which you sometimes do with the Diamattis because you're weird. So let's try out the task force, the reinforced heavy, and see if they do have a big difference in what they do. So 3.6 meters away with the biggest barrel. And now let's go 5 meters away. You can see definitely that the hipfire spread is way wider. And the main bullets are still clustered really far, and obviously on the close range when you're standing right in front of each other, you're good. But the further you go away, the absolute worse it gets. I mean, if we measure this to that, it's like almost twice, I'd say, like of the spread. So I don't like that personally. Let's actually see now if we swap the task force barrel for the reinforced heavy barrel, how much that feels different. 3.6 meters. Boy, that feels very clustered. Let's do the 5 meters. Oh, wow, 75 meters away from something is hard. Definitely, like still further spread than this, so it does seem to also, due to being a big barrel, make the hipfire worse. You can distinctively see the difference to no barrel and actually the barrels right now. I'd say this is obviously way better than the first, but now if we consider that the big barrels are being awful to this, what would be our other option? We have the cavalry lancer for vehicle damage. Nope. The extended and the chrome line should make it worse too, because they're also big barrels, even bigger. So technically we would have the takedown barrel to actually see if that one does give the best hipfire spread. Okay, 3.6 meters. Tiny barrel, boys. 5 meters. Yeah, that's more like the first spray. If you look at it, that's really more like the first spray. So we could higher effective damage range without really necessarily making anything worse about the pistol. I mean, again, if we're realistic and we look at these, the 3.6 meter ones, so if you're really close to the opponent and if you're using it for the use case scenario that you're extremely close to someone, then it should really not matter which barrel you use. But if we're really looking for the best hipfire spread, then the takedown hands down should be be the best. Now let's go over to the muzzles. We would have the agency suppressor, which gives you sound suppression, and we all know you love sound suppression, and it gives you even more damage range, which means effective damage range and bullet velocity. So technically the agency suppressor is for most of you going to be the best. Also, the agency suppressor does not make the hipfire worse. But now, since we're trying to just figure out the most efficient one, let's see if the infantry compensator or the SOCOM eliminator or even the muzzle brake would be the vibe. Because the problem with the infantry compensator and the SOCOM eliminator, they each actually increase horizontal recoil control, which means that your shots would be widening out to the left and right. So let's try out the muzzle brake first and see what that does in comparison. Let's see what this has to offer in comparison to all the others. And it does feel like, if you look at the bullets straight away, the cluster here does seem like instantly way thicker. Let's go a bit further away, 5 meters. They seem extremely more clustered, and I need a better shooting here in comparison. So we're gonna do 3.6. Yeah, that's like, this line here is insanely well clustered. We're doing 5 meters in comparison. I would go so far to say that this does actually improve the control here a little bit, that gets it together. It feels also like that we actually get a left and right spread here. So now I would like to know, in comparison, since the muzzle brake will technically squash it down, the spread should widen up. So maybe it's better to actually use the agency suppressor, since this is not going to help. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 3.6 meters. And then 5 meters. We have here the cluster, and here it's again a little bit more spread open. So if we go for the 3.6 meters, as always, the muzzle brake did actually help with it. If we look on the further spread, there is feelingly on the agency suppressor a better cluster, I would even say. Which is weird to me. Like, you can see like the same characteristic here. These bullets are together, as here it is. But since this is like a more ergonomic spread, it feels like that this actually is better in total. So that actually the suppressor itself,
heading this way.
The suppressor itself does feel really good. Like, no actual complaints about using that one. I mean, now we're here obviously comparing, you know, tiny things. Again, if you're completely close, you're very good to go with any barrel and with any setup. But right now, if I would say, what am I feeling? How am I feeling it? How am I liking it? I'd say I like the agency suppressor over the muzzle brake. The compensator and the SOCOM eliminator, again, these are awful options because they'll make it worse. Well, let's just put one on and show you where it would go down to. So again, if we're close, we're fine. It's similar to all the others. But if we're 5 meters away, I'm feeling like the extreme spread. I mean, if you look at this in comparison to what we had here before, that is not the vibe. So the agency suppressor seems to be the best barrel, which is going to make a lot of people very, very happy. The takedown barrel seems to be the best barrel. And then last but not least, attachment wise, you don't really have anything to offer. You would just put on a cell with 30 round fast mag, because the only downside is aim down sight speed. I mean, the standard 30 round mag has reload quickness, but you know, aim down sight speed, we're not aiming down sight. When it comes down to the rear grips, there's nothing that helps with hip fire, nothing that actually makes your shooting better. So this would be then the final Diamatti. Let's sum it up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what have we seen here in the testing? 5 milliwatt laser is a must. Dual wind obviously is what it is. Then we have the 30 round fast mag, and when it comes down to the barrels, we have the most effective damage range then with this one, with losing some spring move speed, which is fine because you're insanely fast with Akimbo anyways. The task force barrel also does work. There's no downside on the task force barrel, considering that if you're extremely close quarter combat, if you're really in front of your opponent, yes, you just murk him down. Like pistols in the face, kill him. That means you have to take an AR that you can use from any distance, like 5 meter plus, or like your DMR or whatever what you're using. But the takedown barrel technically makes the hipfire the best, minimal, and helps you then to shoot your opponents. Obviously, you can play the reinforced heavy chromeland. You can play all of these, but it seems just like if you're looking for the most effective hipfire, that the takedown should be your vibe. Last but not least, with the barrel attachment, the agency suppressor seems to be decisively better than the muzzle brake, which I'm not wondering about. The SOCOM eliminator also being awful, because if we consider that technically it would actually make your Rinettis not pull that much up, they would not pull that much up, so the spread would widen out. And that's what I really felt there from a technicality, that if you vert recoil squash it, that the horizontal, if your attachment doesn't help with horizontal recoil, which you don't have a single one for, you're getting screwed over and you will actually make it worse. So the agency suppressor here is your friend, and you then have the most efficient hipfire Diamattis. Ladies and gentlemen, try this gun out. It's absolutely insane. I love to pair it with the Stoner, for example, with a Task Force Agency Suppressor, Field Agent Foregrip, Fast Mech, Vulture Custom Zoom. No, actually, I've been starting to play the Silix Holo Scout because that scope feels insane. I still have to figure out which reticle I want to play. I guess until I get the green cross, I'm kind of screwed over, because this one is good, okay, but you really want to have the chevron or the green reticle to really have a scope that you want to beam with. But then again, you can also just play this straight up with the DMR 14 or the Type 63 until they get nerfed. Again, here, titanium barrel is the trick, together with an agency silencer. Here on this gun, actually, surprisingly, you could also play the SOCOM eliminator, because the gun doesn't have that much horizontal bounce, and then with the field agent foregrip, you're good to go. I played this with a Vision Tag 2x because the Vision Tag 2x has a buttload of cool reticles to boast. I'm looking forward to this one, and in the long run to this one and this one. Right now I'm playing this, but as you can see, I have it soon unlocked. And then last but not least, the attachment here, personally for you, either you go for the Serpent Wrap or you go for bonus ammunition, because obviously you would not want to run out any tab ability. Enjoy this loadout, enjoy the Diamattis. They are the strongest gun in the game right now when it comes down to close quarter combat. Yes, Mac 10 and MP5 have more range ability, but the Diamattis, just as I said, one burst you. Left, right, boom, boom, dead. And with stopping power rounds, left, right, and even if don't all 6 bullets hit, you're still dead. Absolutely crazy. Have so much fun in the Warzone with this. A lot of things are broken. It is just Cold War Warzone right now. Going to be fixed in 2, 3, 4 weeks. Hopefully, until then, just enjoy what's broken. Don't get mad about what's broken. Just enjoy what's broken. Take your time. Play the OP things. Don't feel bad about it. You know me, I like to play niche guns, but I'm playing the OP things and I'm just enjoying myself. Have a wonderful, good, fantastic one. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet for more content to come. Check out the second YouTube under P4wnyhof Plays. Just enter that into the search bar and you'll find me. And Twitch to be P4wnyhof every single day. Going crazy, going wild. Have a wonderful, good one, and see you soon in Verdansk.